Good morning. How is everybody?
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Absolutely
Everybody,
wonderful here.
everybody got their spacesuit on. We're gonna be launched into the atmosphere by NVIDIA today, huh?
No, really.
I got it.
You
I got it. I have
got your spiel already?
my spiel.
Your spiel?
My spiel.
Okay. Well,
All right.
uh, markets are up. Nasdaq's up. Obviously, Nvidia is a big part of the S&P and the Nasdaq. Can move it. Other companies are following suit. The Dow Jones it closed up yesterday, 0.10. The Nasdaq closed up 0.59. S&P was up 0.38. The advancers were 37%. Decliners 59. New highs were 16.7, new lows 83.3%, 30% over the 50-day to 44% over the 200 days. So we're still seeing that market breadth on the negative side. Of course, the big news was NVIDIA came out. Revenue is 57 billion, up 22%. Data center revenue is 51.2 billion. So lots of data center revenue. Gross margin 73.4%. Earnings per share $1.30. You saw AMD, Broadcom, Oracle all up. Outlook for revenue next quarter 65 billion, plus or minus 2%. That's what they said. And we're up about 5% in pre-market, which I think that was interesting that it with blowout earnings that you would think it would go higher than that. We've seen more, but it is what it is. Uh, Today we have September non-farm payroll, which I don't know why anyone really cares. That's September, and we're in November, looking at December in a week. So not sure what that's going to tell us or how big it is. And then the FOMC meeting minutes came out. They show that many want really no interest rate cuts in December, which there was priced in that we would have them in December. Now I think whatever the betting thing that Trent looks at, I think it's under 50% chance that that's going to happen. Uh, Walmart came out with earnings and good guidance. Okay, we had Lowe's come out, Home Depot come out, Target come out. Some of the higher end and the housing kind of plays, and they all went down. Their guidance was off, but Walmart says uh, they gained value-seeking customers, and they gained more of the high-end customers. So the high-end customers continue to come, mostly in the grocery end, and their e-commerce sales were up 27%. And the last time I looked, uh, Walmart was about even in the pre-market where it closed. So again, when you talk about it, the economy is driven by consumers. Uh, Trent and I were just talking about this. 65, 70% of our economy is based on consumer spending. Uh, then on that's B2C is what we call it, business to consumers, Walmart to consumers, Lowe's to consumers, Tractor Supply to consumers, Procter and Gamble to consumers. And then there's B2B, which is business to business, and that's what we see, with NVIDIA, in Microsoft and Qualcomm and all those tech companies selling to each other. So it's two different things. So keep that in mind. Again, we look like we're going to be up. I mean, it's not drastically up. We're 1.67. You can go back. We've lost. We're not back to even yet. We'll show it in the charts. Uh,
Are you showing your screen?
oh, I am not. Huh.
No. Okay.
I thought I was.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Uh, Here we are. So, we're up half a point in the Dow futures, 1.1 in this S&P, and you see the Nasdaq's, because of NVIDIA and the rest is up 1.66%. But we have, we've been on a downward slide for a while, so it's going to take a while to get back. I think NVIDIA's high was 212 or something in that area. So if we're up 5 points, 10 points, we still have a way to go. There's the hero of the day, 5% pre-market. He doesn't think there's an AI bubble. They see something very different. Of course, I would too if I had the only company that had the stronghold on the GPUs. Right now, he does. So just same kind of thing that Oracle kind of had in the .com with uh, the product that they provided. No one else provided that. So there is kind of a link into that. September jobs reports, not much on here. So anyway, we're looking for an up market at the start. Let's go take a look. Not much going on. I didn't do much in the trading. We did get out of the Berkshire swing. We saw that yesterday. Still in on the investment side of the Berkshire side. Danaher that hit a sell order yesterday. It came down. I'll show you that chart if you were into that. That's where got out about 0.82, and Hershey's still in there pretty strong. We'll take a look at that. Then under the 200s, again, the public service and waste management still doing really well. So garbage is still good on those, and VeriSign would be down. Okay, we'd be out of that one for sure because it would have hit my 2%. But again, I don't like trading before NVIDIA. It ended up okay for NVIDIA in the market. We'll see if it goes to the broader market or just stays in the text today. That'll be interesting to see. And let's go to the charts. And start out here with Walmart just for a second because Walmart just came out with their earnings. We just went over that. And you see, last time I looked, it's going to open up about where it closed. So not much of a pop, but, again, the oscillators are down a little bit. And then we'll roll over to NVIDIA just because that was the stock of the day. And you can see on earnings here, we were just at the 50. Now we're going to, we always talk about a catalyst to get past a resistance. Well, their earnings is that catalyst. And we're looking to open up, higher today above a lot of the sell orders and the resistance above the 9. So this will be a pop. We'll see, when it opens. We had a lot of this over here where we open, come down, open, come down, open, come down, open, come down. We'll see if it's one of those or if it's an open and pop up. I don't know. We'll find out, and first 30 minutes will be pretty wild on this. When we look at the Dow Jones is going to open up right about at resistance, up a little bit. So we're still at resistance. We're still under the 200 here on the Dow. And then we get into the SPY, which is a little more heavy in the tech. You see, we're going to open up above. We're coming back up above the 50. And, we're talking about that. 50 is kind of the line. If we can't get past that again, it's not good news with this. So far with this news, it's popping us up right between the 50 and the 9. So it's a, very narrow range, and you got some sell orders here. We'll see where the SPY ends up and see if we can get these oscillators to turn around. But, it's how we close. It's not how we open. And of course, the tech heavy Qs going to open up. We were kind of at this resistance level underneath the 50 for a couple of days, and now we're going to open up just about at where the 9 is up here. So we'll see if we get a pop up. We've been at this level before where we can't get past. We'll see if we do. Again, a little bit of a pop at the beginning. We'll see how much the enthusiasm can carry over maybe into the tech sector, into the AI sector, and hold today. What else we got? Oh, we got gold. Gold still be kind of hanging out right on the resistance level. We're going to open up just above the 20 again. So right about where we closed. You see some of the oscillators are still down a little bit on gold. And you would think maybe, with money rushing back into the AI trade, if it does that today, we're in pre-market now. Pre-market is not totally representative of the full market. It just isn't. We'll see when we open if gold takes a hit or not. Right now, it's just kind of remaining steady. Silver had a nice run up. It was running, and see, we're going to open right above the 9 again. So we're still above the 9. Might get a little bit of a cross on the on stochastic, but again, kind of waiting and seeing on silver. Bitcoin's hanging out right about the it come down and hit that 90,000. We've gone under it a little bit, right about at 92, and that's kind of where I've been saying that the line in the sand would be around 92, 93. Not that it can't go up or down below that. It's Bitcoin trades at a high number. So, you go up 1,000, go down 1,000. It's not really that much considering you're at 90-some $1,000. But here we got the 9 coming down. We found this little base for 4 days. We got back within the Bollinger Band, and we're starting to see the stochastic starting to come up a tad bit, and we're seeing this flatten out a little bit on the MACD. So, maybe this NVIDIA will start pulling this back in, and you'll see some more bids coming back in. But there's been a pretty good line right here at the 90 level. You can see we have wicked down, but come back up and closed above 90, for the last 4 days. And if we can get back up, get this 9 to come down, start rolling back up, get a little more momentum, we might see it. We might see a bid come back into the Bitcoin areas, but we are holding down there for a while. Ethereum, I didn't look at this one this morning. Ethereum's kind of come down and like the same thing, 4 days in a row, right about the 3,000 level here. So, that might be the base in here, and we're starting to see again the MACD coming back around. We're still flat on the others. We'll see if this 9 comes down. We can start rolling back up and get above that 200. Right now, it's not diving as much as it was, but it seemed to be holding steady on that. MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy, it looks like Bitcoin. It's been going down, and then we've kind of hit this kind of little support level here, around the 190, 192 area. We're going to open up right about at 192 today, and we'll see again. You got this 9 getting closer to the price action, which is flattened for a couple of days, and we'll see if it turns and heads the other direction. Of course, this is all about leverage on Bitcoin. Bitcoin turns around, you'll see MicroStrategy turn around. And then IBIT. Again, this line has done me well on IBIT. Told you I lightened up on IBIT on the 200, and it's been pretty good. Right here you're at 57.18, and it just closed at 50.73. So basically $6-7 you've saved per share just because of Paul Tudor Jones. So thank you, Paul Tudor Jones, at least from my point of view. What else we got? I talked at NVIDIA, Meta. We'll see if some of these other companies get a little bit of a bounce. Now, we've been watching Meta for a potential swing here. Okay, we're going to open up. We've come down. We've touched intermediate support. We're starting to see the MACD come back up. We still haven't seen much on the stochastic or the RSI yet because we're just kind of flat, and we'll see if we can get up. If we can get above that 9, get these oscillators to cross over, we might have a swing in Meta. And then, you get back up, you're going to have to fight that 200. But maybe this is the catalyst that gets it going. But the way I look at it, nothing's really changed for Meta and Google and these hyperscalers. They're still, building out data centers. They're still, spending a lot of money. They're putting out bonds and debt in this race for AI. And they all need NVIDIA chips right now. But I do know they're all working on their own chips. And who wouldn't? I mean, if you're paying that price per chip and you could make your own that works for you, you're going to cut out all that cost. And then we see, in the future, what NVIDIA will do. I mean, are they going to diversify out or what's going to happen? But right now, they're in the driver's seat. Microsoft, continue down and, right along the Bollinger. We're going to open up a little bit with this bump. We still have the negative oscillators down here. So, it's not, it's bumping them up a little bit, but I'm not seeing it, like we used to see, when these guys would come out in NVIDIA, everything just kind of skyrocketed, and 5%, doesn't seem like a lot, for the earnings that NVIDIA had. It'll pull these guys up, but I want to see where we end today. That'll be interesting for me. Apple. Of course, Apple is just not really into the AI like the rest of the mags, and it's just been nice and sideways, and it's going to open up right again on resistance, and we've been there for a while. And it's interesting, we're down below the 9, we're right around the 20, very narrow Bollinger Bands, but you still see these oscillators heading down, so we want to see those head back up. Got a little bit of momentum, but that was because of yesterday we popped up, but we'll see what happens. But Apple's has been flat. Google's got, a double kind of a bounce here with the Berkshire Hathaway purchase. And then yesterday's, NVIDIA, we're going to open up right under where the sell orders are, but we've wicked up there yesterday, came back down. We came back down several times right here on resistance, tried to get by. We'll see if maybe this is a this is the catalyst or if this is just another wick and we come back down. Did have a nice crossover in stochastic. We haven't got it yet on the MACD for Google. Amazon, we're going to open up a little higher, but we're still under the 50. All right, here's another line of resistance. You still see downward turning oscillators. Okay, but we'll see again if this is a wick up and back down to support, but at least we're hitting on support, but the resistance is really close on Amazon right now. And Tesla, final of the Mag 7. Tesla's going to open up a little bit higher, right about where it wicked up to, but we're still below the 9, the 20, the 50, and resistance right here. So flatness, we might be starting to pop up. We'll see if we start to get some swings on some of these Mag 7s. And Palantir. Since earnings has been kind of downward moving momentum. We're going to open up just about like where we wick, kind of like Tesla. Still have oscillators that are down. Even in the stochastic is still rolling down. We're at 39 on the RSI. So we'll see. Maybe this will pop us back up, or maybe it just keeps us in this kind of sideways pattern right now. It's not telling me much, in pre-market what's happening. Berkshire B. So here's where we got in on the swing and on the investment. We came up, got out of the swing here, came down. And remember, we're not doing a trade now. We're in an investment mode on this part of Berkshire. It did come down and hit the 200 and bounce back up. So that's a good sign for Berkshire. What I don't like is this negative crossover here and then the potential negative on this MACD. So I'm going to watch that, see what happens, and play around the 200. If we get sustainable down and holding at the 200, you may want to get out a little bit. But as an investment, this can go sideways for a while along here, and then go down. You might lose a little bit, but we're hoping that it bounces like it has and continues to move up. I can't guarantee that the trend has been down for the last 4 days, but the fact that it bounced off the 50 and the 20 is a pretty good sign. But again, I don't like those oscillators, but we'll maintain it and see how it goes for an investment. We have to get out. We'll wait and we'll try it again next time it goes up. DHR. This one would have come down if I'd been in it. I would have hit, I always go back and look at where I would put, a stop, and it would have hit that stop yesterday. Of course, we're heading sideways a little bit. Oscillators aren't too bad other than the RSI has popped down. And then Hershey. Oops. Hershey just keeps kind of rolling up, but it's having trouble getting past this 50. If you are into Hershey, this is when we put it on. You may want to take a little off. You're really getting close to resistance up here. Starting to see a little turnover in the stochastic. Under the 200s, don't really have much. We have RSG that we put on Monday. RSG, Republic Services, really done nice as an under the 200 stock. Oscillators are still strong. You're going to come up with some sell orders. About 218 and change. And then, of course, you got the 50 here, which will provide us with a little resistance. But, for RSG, that's up 3.66% since we put it on Sunday. And then, trash is cash, and here, waste management, we talked about it last Friday, just keeps rolling, blew right through the 50 and right up to where sell orders are right on the top of the Bollinger Band. Some people use the Bollinger. You could have got out. Waste management's up 5.45% during this whole week, and from last Friday to today. So pretty interesting for a garbage company to do so well when we're looking at what's been happening in the markets. Couple others. Oh, get the right one. Palo Alto had earnings. We talk about network and software. It's playing down here right along its support level here. But again, the oscillators are down on Palo Alto. We already looked at Walmart. Got some back into the healthcare. You've got Lilly. Resistance has gone away. Now we're just back to sell orders. So here we have, we came up, resistance was here. Then we started moving up. Sometimes you see that sideways back over to support, and then it takes off again. So now you're kind of back into, Lilly, and you go look at the XLV, which is healthcare, and you see resistance is still on there. It hasn't popped off. Maybe Lilly will pop this up a little bit. And then you see it's not, just everywhere. You have Guild, Gilead Sciences kind of doing the same thing. So there's some opportunity, as long as you stay between support and resistance, and know where your sell orders are. There's some opportunities still in healthcare. Uh, we brought up Target, and I'll do one more. Target had its earnings, okay, and it came out and it was talking about people aren't coming to the store as much and not shopping as much. And so the difference between Target and Walmart, you can see Walmart has remained the same, at least as I looked at it last, uh, hasn't gone down, but it's right about where it closed. You would think that would pop a little more. And that's what I got for today. So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Trent because I know I'm going to give it to him 10 minutes earlier than normal because I know
Oh
he's just
Lord, are
getting
you
ready.
okay?
He's getting ready to go to the moon. You got the moon thing on, man. I want to see what you're going to say.
Well, yeah. All right, so let's take a look at where we're lining up in the indexes, the how the options market or market makers are pricing in their hedges and where they're positioning. And so right now we have a high end on the SPY, this S&P 500 ETF at 680. So right back up where we started this decline back on November 13th. We have a bull bear fight line. This is for those who are new. This is where market makers, institutions, three of the biggest are Citadel, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. So when you buy and sell a stock, you would do that through a market maker. They make a market for you. And a lot of times they borrow that stock from other market makers. So they have to hedge their book and their risk, and they'll use options or future contracts to do that. And what this is telling us is they're hedging out a top end of 680, a support level, main support level at 660. And as you can see, we came down here on Tuesday and then yesterday, and we held up. So this support level is real. And when it adjusts, you pay attention to it. And what we're seeing is the market SPY will open up at 673.50s right now. That's $5 or so above this bull bear fight line. And what that means is now the market makers will start to hedge in more of a neutralizing their book of business. They call it delta neutral. So they just want to keep it even. When a stock price is below the bull bear fight line, then they start to sell or buy into the direction of that stock. And that's why you can see oftentimes these big candlesticks here as you these big wide during intraday moves. It's because the market makers are selling in or they're buying into that position. So they're going directionally where it's going. So it looks like they will see more of a positive gamma or positive bull bear fight line positioning, which is reflected in the volatility of the S&P 500. And that's the VIX. And we saw that, and I'll hit upon that here. Today, we're seeing, let me stretch this out a little bit. We're seeing yesterday, this was volatility, well, last 1, 2, 3, 4 days up into Tuesday, volatility closed lower, but was still upward over the 19 line. And today it looks to open below or right at 1966. So we're right still in the chop bucket. Um, looks like my computer's not
Oh, better
charging.
plug it in.
That's weird. Okay, and so yeah, that would be a good idea, Mark. Customer service. My computer's not turning on. Is it plugged
Yeah.
in? No. There we go. So what we're seeing is this battle, the volatility falling, which is good for equities, good for stocks going up overall. When we look at the triple Qs, this is NASDAQ 100. This is, this is tech. This is big tech companies, primarily in the NASDAQ. And so we closed out at 599.87 yesterday, and we look to open at 612, which means we're right above the bull bear fight line. That's positive. And as Mark has always taught me, it isn't where the market opens, it is where it closes. So let's see what happens today. Let's not get too excited. Let's not get too rambunctious about it. But let's see where it closes. If it closes still above that 607 mark on the triple Qs, then that's a positive. We support big support resistance level is at 630. Support big support level is 600. So you can see there was a fight to close above 600 on Tuesday, as well as yesterday, right below it. But this NVIDIA earnings came out, and this is going to pop up higher. So that's a good thing. Let's see where it closes. And if it closes above our intermediate trend line here, the yellow line, which is the 62-day moving average, then from there, we get into a positive momentum move, possibly upward. But let's wait and see how the day transacts. Russell 2000 ETF IWM still looks to open at $236.47, up $3 from yesterday's close. We closed below the big support level at 235. We still have a secondary level at 230. Remember, NVIDIA is not in the Russell 2000, so you're not getting the same effect. These are small and mid-sized companies. I've said it a couple of times over the last couple of weeks. These are the companies who pay more to borrow money because they're a higher risk. Typically, their credit rating isn't as good. And so we've seen this downward trend since October 27th in the small mid cap area. Where things would get good is if we were to able to close above 242. This is that bull bear fight line for it. And then momentum would change from selling into downward trends or buying into upward trends to more of a neutral, low volatility environment for the small Russell 2000 overall. So we're seeing those differences there. Gold has found some level of support around 372. We've got a big support level at 340 on the GLD, which is the ETF for gold, and then a big resistance level at 390. Looks to open up just a little bit more than 20, 30 cents or so at 375 today. So not a big rush into gold at this point. Gold has been really interesting in that it's been performing positive as well as in line with the equity market, which typically isn't the case. Typically, it's a risk off play. But if you do a little digging, you're finding out more and more central banks are buying gold versus US treasuries. So you're seeing a bit of a pivot from the central bank world of where they're buying, what they're buying in their and putting into their treasury accounts is more gold oriented versus US treasuries, which is should be a level of concern there. Cipher mining is one we've talked about a lot. We've started talking about it in the $7 range. Unfortunately, I don't have a option calculation here, but I do have this, and this is interesting. We started talking about it down here in the $7 range. It moved up drastically, very quickly, basically from early or late August, early September into November 6th, where it hit all-time highs of intraday highs of 25.52. And then since there, it's retreated. These big blocks of red, this is where market makers or the market in general said, okay, this is over, this we've made too much or it's overvalued, we're selling. And we have this big block here right where we're going to open up at 1645. So up $2 or so, just over under $2. We do have a level of resistance here from where sell orders are. So if we can see a push through that, which would really be the trade trend line, this white line of 15, then we maybe get some a little bit further up, but we got a lot of resistance in here. So keep that in mind as you're playing the cipher minings, as well as the IRENs. Let me find IREN here. Overall, here we are. There we are. IREN's a big one on the list. We've talked about it, started talking about it a year ago. And since what was it, August 25th, we've seen a pullback in IREN. Um, they did a big deal, or they have a contract with Microsoft. I think it's like 9 billion or so, a big chunk of their projected revenue in the future. But remember, there are stipulations in contracts that they have to provide certain levels of wattage and space for Microsoft. If they don't, it penalizes them and their payouts. So it's not money in the bank. It's a contract. It's a promise. And as we all know, as young kids, we often break promises with our friends. But we look to open up $4, roughly $4 above where we closed yesterday. We get back into a positive bull bear scenario where market makers become more positive hedging wise, and you see less volatility. So we may have found, maybe temporarily have found a support level right around $48 a share. Now, somebody said earlier this week they've took a bit of a uh, hit in the jaw over the last couple of weeks with Iran. Where what do you do? And I think this is where you start to look at this and go, okay, why is this going up today? Because of one company's earnings. If this thing moves up higher and closes above the 48 mark, and the next level of resistance is at 60. And this is where you start to go, okay, this is where you play the probability game. What is the likelihood that we will see a continuation into AI, particularly tech, secondarily, that will push these related companies higher throughout the remainder of the year? That's the question you have to start answering. And when it comes to a risk management element, is like, okay, maybe I'm down X percent in Iran at this point. If I get to this level, maybe consider what do I do? If it hits, $60 where it's a big resistance level, this is where market makers have put in basically their hedges between 60 and 42. How are they going to adjust their hedging? How is the market going to process this move higher? And is it a high probability that it will continue higher? And if it does, why? Always ask why. And if you come to the conclusion that is there is no good why, then that's when you start to dollar cost average out of that position, take your lumps and move on. At the bottom line, your number one job is you are a risk manager. And secondarily, you're an investor. At the end of the day, if you have no money to invest because you blew it all, and I will attest to that. It's hard to invest when you have nothing to invest. So just be careful here. We look to open up 8.42% here. So take that into account and just, looking at a lot of these other positions that a lot of people are in, apply the same things. One last thing I want to talk about is, where is it? Percentage of stocks above the 20, the 50, and the 200 day. Um, the 20, we've got about 30% of stocks above the 20-day moving average. We've seen this decline since November 12th is declined, but maybe we have found a bottom. We'll see here. It's fed the 50-day, so percentage of stocks above the 50 is about 32, say rounded up 33%. Looks like we found some level of resistance here, or support level, excuse me. You can go back here to March. You can see it all the way back. This is a bit of a support level. Um, and then the basement of the house is the foundation of, on a moving average point of view, is the stocks above the 200-day moving average. We're now at 49.34. We saw that level as well back in August, right back in here, through June. And then this is where it broke down back in February, March. So this is I would say, this is a point of pivot potentially. So we could see a bounce up, which chances are, depending on where the market closes today and stocks close, we could see a move higher. That would give us some level of confidence. But if we close lower over the today or tomorrow, we may be in for a sizable shift of stocks moving from risk on to risk off, or money managers doing the same. So overall, Nvidia came out with positive earnings on the surface. There's a lot of I've been on X last night and today. There's a lot of questions about accounts receivable versus inventory numbers. How does that add up? What do these deals that they're doing really amount to? Are they true contracts? Is there truly a dollar investment into these companies that they say they are, or is it just a swapping of money or promise that I'll give you this much credit and you buy X much of our product overall. So I think this is the same thing I heard back in 1999 with Cisco Systems. They were a router company, if you remember them. They owned 86% of the router market. And they were doing similar, them and others were doing similar deals that we're seeing today. And we all know how that ended. So, as one of my favorite guys to follow, Jason Shapiro, says you can have a great idea, you can believe wholeheartedly that something is going to happen or it should be one way, but the market is going to do what it's going to do. So invest or trade with the direction of the market. And if the market goes up and it's going to go up, then don't fight it. But if it changes, you change. Anyways, that's my message for the day.
Message for the
Preserve,
day.
protect, and grow, Mark. That's
You
what we're
said
doing.
you said nothing about the moon, though. I was looking for some kind of moon reference, but I'll just have
Well,
to use your
I think
background.
I think the sentiment amongst many will be Nvidia has taken us to the moon. We're back in it the whole bit. It's more of my sarcastic comment of, yeah, but um, New York Fed may disagree with you because this all comes down to liquidity. If there isn't enough liquidity in the system, things don't go up. And when it dries up, things go down.
And I think it's
Pretty
kind of
simple.
it's a rebound bounce right now on the price. It has to get up to past 212, just to really start taking off again. So we'll see what happens. They were good earnings, but uh,
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine last night, and I said if I was the only supplier of batteries to Apple for their phones, I would be doing well every quarter too until somebody else came up and challenged me on those batteries. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. It's going to be an interesting lot to watch, from my point of view. Somebody want to talk about
Yeah.
SoundHound, and I don't know where it's going to open up today, based on this, but we're still in that as of yesterday's close is downward trend, but we'd hit kind of a sideways pattern right here along where resistance has come up and also at the 200. So we dropped below the 200. We don't have a crossover yet on the MACD, and we're still, negative on stochastic and really low on the RSI. So I want to see if this 9 comes down, if we can get some momentum to come back up, get past this resistance level, get past this 200, and then we might be back into a trade and potentially even into some type of an investment if you can get above that 200. If you wanted to follow, Paul Tudor Jones on that one. So I would wait for me personally on some kind of a trade yet, but at least I see 4 days of flattening. We're starting to see that kind of as a pattern. We even saw it in, kind of Bitcoin too, that kind of 4 days. NVTS was the
If
other
I
one.
could jump in just for half a second, in one of
Oh,
the
that's it. Nope, that's it. That was half a second.
well,
Do you want me to grant you more time?
you forgot the square root on there.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Steve.
Just real fast. On YouTube, Kerry mentioned that he was going to be selling sound, but I have yet to see it on the Discord. So I don't know if he's pulled the trigger, changed his mind, or just been busy.
I don't.
That's all.
On his tell sheet, which went out this morning with the morning newsletter, it looks as though he has zeroed that out.
Okay.
I don't know why he didn't let me know, but
So he
yeah.
did sell, you think?
Yeah. Something
Yeah,
that
I
after we talk, Mark, I want to just touch upon his tell sheet because he and I had a
Okay,
in-depth discussion about what changes are being made. So I'll
perfect.
give a little bit of an explanation.
Okay, let's go over Navitas, and then I'll be done. as far, and then put any more in after Trent's done. We'll continue. Again, this has been down. This kind of looks like Soundhound came down, formed a resistance. The 9 is coming down, starting to flatten out a little bit. I want to see a crossover on the MACD, and these are still pretty flat. The stochastic and 38 on the RSI. So we are above the 200 on this one. So that's a good sign still. So if you're in as kind of a investment, you're still up a bit. But we'll see if we can get a little more momentum, and then you'd have to come up. You got sell orders right here, and that's right where we cross the 50 and the 20 right now. So sideways is kind of nice. Above the 200 is kind of nice. No crossovers here, and I'd wait on a trade on that. If you're in it as an investment, you use the 200, you're still okay on that one. And then I'm going to turn it back to you, Trent, about the tell sheet.
Okay. Let's see here. So he and I talked yesterday because I noticed some changes, and if you were on Friday's call with him, I mentioned the geometric Brownian in motion probability calculation, and he has integrated that into his prompt. And as he said, it was eye-opening because what it does is it calculates probability of achieving a certain goal. So, for instance, as you all know, his goal is in 3 years that you get 100% return on your portfolio. Samantha's done an incredible job from a fundamental standpoint of analyzing companies and has done very well. And he threw this Brownian motion analytic into it, and it showed a different sign of probability from a probability standpoint of achieving that 100% return. And so, what I want, he has made some changes here, and I want to sort of explain them. And you can see this on the website as well. And there is a link in the Kerry's tell sheet in the Discord. But one thing I want to point out here is, or two things. One, the real simple one is the yellow ones are marking where the stock 52-week high, or how far off the stock price here is versus the 52-week high. So you can see here in CrowdStrike, it's off 59.94%, off today, off its 52-week high, pretty sizable move. And then you come over here to projected stock prices. Now, he has added this 2027 projected ROI on this. And what these green boxes mean is this is your end goal. 2029 projected return, let's use CrowdStrike as an example, 140.26% above where it is trading today. His question was, where is the majority of that 140.26% return? What year is it going to come from? And as you can see here, this number here, 60.17 on CrowdStrike, CoreWeave, excuse me, is of that 140%, 60% of it is going to come in 2020 by 2027. Okay. Then another 100% of that is going to come from in 2028. The reason he's putting this up here is because he's looking for companies who will get the majority of their gains in, say, the first year of the 3. And then after that, they peter out. Well, if they peter out, would there be a better place to put your money in that time where you could catch another move higher? And so that's what the green boxes represent, the ones that are more favorable to achieving the end goal, and that is 100% in 3 years. Now, you have companies like, let's see here, where is it? Soundhound. This is where this number is presently trading at $11.63. He's looking for 100% return based on Samantha's calculations and the probability calculations. We've gotten it. We're there. already. So SoundHound's has run out of steam. Price wise, valuation wise, it's basically overpriced. And that's why you're starting to see negative numbers here. And that's why you sold out of it. So that's when you see that, it's basically saying based on the fundamentals of Samantha, the probability calculations, the probability of achieving a bigger return. So 100% return in 3 years on SoundHound would be over $25 a share, probably, yeah, $25 a share based on the fundamentals and the probability. It's not going to happen. So that's why you see these negative numbers. So third biggest thing, and this is, I had a conference call with somebody to explain this. The score. Now, instead of seeing one score, you're seeing two. And the two are the first one, in this case, let's see, let's go up here to AMD. It's pardon me, 85 and 39. The 85 is a Samantha's calculations, the fundamental analysis score. Okay. This is looking at truly the fundamentals of it. Okay. That's the 85. The 39 is the probability score. So he'll refer to it as the Monte Carlo calculation. It's part of the Brownian motion analytic calculation, but there is a 39% chance that this goal of 101.30% will be achieved in 2020 by 2029. So from a fundamental standpoint, strong. From a probability standpoint, as you can see, if you're in more of the 20+% range, there's a good chance. One that is a bit concerning is Amazon. It has a 70 fundamental score, according to his calculations, and a 13% or 13 on the probability of that. So as you can see, he's highlighted in yellow. It's a hyperscaler. It's one of the Mag 4 hyperscalers. And so chances are there's a good sense that could happen, but it's also a consumer based driven company. And as you know, we've heard through Target, Home Depot, and a couple others, the consumer is weak. So will that hinder? Is the probabilities of Amazon hitting this 102% gain is very low. So when you're looking at this, this is where I look at it and go, okay, so if I've got let's see here, we'll use Meta. He's got 80, fundamental score of 80, a probability score of 22. Looks to achieve about an 86.34% of goal, which is under Kerry's 100% goal. But if you watched his video yesterday or the day before, he has decided to take, and it was really fueled by one of the gentlemen, I think overseas, who works in one of the data centers. His comment to build out a data center takes more than 3 years. And his calculations on these companies has been, in this case, the hyperscalers, has been 3 years. Well, it takes about 5 to 6. So he's adjusting his time frame on these companies, and he'll talk more about this on Friday. His time frame. So in 3 years, there's an 86% chance it will hit the 100% return. But if he extends that out to 6 years, these numbers will change, and that's something I'm going to work with him to adjust in here to make it more understandable. There was a request, I think it was by David, to put an highlighted updates of the deep dives. He has done that. If you can see here, this column here is deep dive that are in production. So he's working on those now. And then over here, this is the ones that have been updated here and the dates they were updated. So you can click this link here. As you can see, it comes up with a link, and that brings you to the podcast that he has generated from this. So those are the changes there. In talking with the gentleman I talked to yesterday, making this simpler to understand, I'm going to create a legend as well as a video explaining what I just explained to you all, and why these changes. Um, so that's sort of the update there. Kerry is, he and I talked about other factors to calculate into achieving these different goals for these companies. And so he and I are working on that, creating more of a probability formula and that kind of thing. Um, so bear with us there, but that's sort of an update. That is an update on the tell sheet. Expect things to change, and we'll keep you up to date as it goes.
Hey, do you have any updates on? I got a note here. Several are having still problems with the Discord. I know you don't run the Discord, Trent, but is there any update on
Yeah.
how? Yeah,
The problem is the
it
what are
says
the
several of us
problems?
on these boards cannot get onto the Discord. This is Dennis. How can we resolve
Okay.
this? Any ideas?
So here, let me jump to the Discord real quick. I get this question a lot, and typically it is the number one fix for those who have subscribed, who are on the Discord, but they're not seeing the channels overall. So let's see here. Go there. Let me share my screen. Let Clement in. Bear with me. Here we
If you guys are
go.
having Discord issues, when he gets on here, ask him questions, and maybe he can
Yeah.
resolve that for you.
So if you are not seeing what I'm seeing here, and this is the Platinum channel, and all these are channels within it. So you got Kerry's office, Kerry's tell sheet portfolio. Here, this one's new. This is the stock, submit stock ideas here. This is that stock submitter program or thing I created. Click that, you can see that. Got Mark's office, Kerry's trades. We'll move that up there. But and then Mark's swing guidelines as well as charts of interest and so on. I have an office here as well, and every so often I contribute investor notes as well. Platinum Live here, Dr. Dave is there manning the fort. Morning Edge. So can't see any of this. Well, go up here to problems and fixes and you'll see that. Now, unfortunately, I can't figure out how to keep the latest post at the top. It always goes to the bottom. Bear with me here. Here's your answer, most likely. I can't see the different channels, the fix. Go to the top of the menu up here to channels and roles. That's here. And go to browse channels, select channels. Let me just walk you through it. So if you can't see these channels, go up to channels and roles, and you'll see browse channels here. And then you'll see all the channels. Now, you can go through and pick a la carte what you want to see. So, for instance, I don't have submit stock ideas here. So I click this and that will show up in my menu. It does show up already, but it's there. If you're not seeing things, you can select follow the whole category as well here, and that will select everything that is available in the Platinum channel. Okay. This is typically the first level of fixing. You do the same with the Morning Edge category and then the Everyone category. So give that a try. If that doesn't work, I will check my office today for people who are having trouble there or any other questions you have as well. But that's typically the fix. So just a quick review, you go up to channels and roles, and it'll bring you to this page. You go to browse channels, and then you go through and you can select the different channels or select everything as well. So that typically will fix the problem. If you just subscribe or just got the invite and submitted it, I have to go through and approve, and I go through that typically twice a day. I go through and I approve them. I have some people who actually don't aren't subscribers, and so I reject them. If you're a subscriber, I'm going to find it in our database, and I'll let you in, and then at that point you'll be able to see all these channels. Were there any other questions, Mark?
Yeah, he said Dennis is having trouble actually getting access. I think he says can we email you if we cannot access, or email me? And
Yeah.
he's got his email in
D-
there. You have your email you can
Dennis?
throw in there for Dennis?
Yeah. Let me give you my. As I've been very vocal, and I'm terrible about email. I'll give you my email as well as my phone number. You can text me, and texting is typically the best way because I respond right away, typically right away to it. Let's see. And if I don't respond right away, I will get to it. Best contact for Trent. I'll put that in the chat here.
So Dennis, can you see that when he puts it in? That'll help.
Yeah,
Hopefully that'll help you out. There he goes. He said thanks.
okay, cool.
There's a question on here from John. He says, on the tell sheet, Trent just explained the green shading in one area, but the same green is used in another area, but on different stocks. What does the second green area mean? There used to be a color legend. Could it be shown again?
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what that green is. This is something that I'm going through and editing. I'm gonna sort of edit his tell sheet to be more understandable. And I will also include that legend as well. I'm going to record, I'll probably just use this segment of the video and use this as how to read this video. But yeah, I don't know the answer to that, but will speak to Kerry today and get you an answer of what some of this is. So we'll go from there with it.
So
Hopefully,
he says he can't see your contact. I don't know if you put it in there yet.
I'm still typing.
Okay.
Hold on. At best. Yeah, for everybody on this channel, I prefer if you just text me. Please don't send me pictures of your vacation or anything, but if you have questions, concerns, suggestions, please text me. I just posted it there. I'm pretty good about the texting side of it, terrible about the email, even though I'm trying to fix it. I know I'll get some ribbing from Mr. Bob over there about that, but it's just how I am.
Yeah. Julie wanted to know a little bit about the colors on mine here. Normally,
Okay.
Julie, I don't even have any on here yet. I'll go up to the top here. So when I get into a stock, it'll be this gray color, and then this will show the price where we get in. If it's white, didn't get into it, this is the price we put on. But this is the price on the day we put it on the list. Okay. If it goes to yellow, that means that it got out. There was some type of we either got out because it's 2% or we got out on a sell order or whatever. Basically, and unlike Allegiant here, we didn't enter. I don't know why that's gray. That's just because I mess up sometimes. But these are the ones that we would be out. This one here, no entry, didn't entry because the IRL came on, so that would be out. And I stopped it right there. These I didn't get into. These we probably did get into. Just yellows. So basically, it's the gray in, the yellow or out. These are over here. You know, if it's a gain or a loss, red or yellow. And this one didn't change over. So that one I go to red. So sometimes I have to manually go in here and change these out. So it's pretty simple on that. These I don't know why I have blue in there on some of those, but anyway, that's as simple as I can get it. Julie, I only use like yellow and gray really mean anything. So hopefully that helped out. Trent's got his contact there in the chat.
Yep.
So if you need to get a hold of Trent, we're at about 8:30. I don't know if anyone had any more comments about the video or what's going on or what your thoughts are, or you just want to call it a day and we'll talk tomorrow, or it's really up to you guys. We have a little bit of time left.
When's the rug pull?
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, all this job reports, how that's affecting the feds and whether or not they're going to cut rates or not. I mean,
They said no.
We're adding new jobs, but on the other hand, it appears that unemployment is going up.
Yeah, that jobs report number one is from September, so that's kind of like going back and saying, well, Texas beat Oklahoma in the
news.
Red River rivalry. Yeah, what does it mean today for Oklahoma? Well, Oklahoma keeps winning. it doesn't mean anything to them. It is old news. So I don't know how much that's going to affect them. You know, the FOMC notes came out yesterday, and it looks like a lot of them are worried about the job situation and the inflation, and that their thoughts are more than we thought before, that they're going to keep the rates the same, is what I got out of that. Bob, what do you have on that? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think they're not reporting the jobs or the information on the jobs is because it's a lot worse than what everybody thinks it is. So they're going to try and swim over that. But I'm questioning, when is the rug pull on the video? You know, it just feels like I think they're going to sell into this. Tomorrow's Friday, and they're going to start selling out of Nvidia and the rest of these stocks. Um, but the jobs are accumulating. You know, um, loss of
Yeah.
jobs is accumulating, and it's going to continue. The economy's in bad shape. People are not shopping, families are not shopping at Target anymore. They've moved to Walmart. That means that they're stepping down and bargain hunting. And that's for food, mainly they're talking about. So um, there's a lot of question out there where our economy is. And I feel we are in a bubble. Now pinch it. That's
Yeah.
when everything falls apart. And liquidity is going to create that, right? And we are having those issues on top. Okay.
Yeah.
If liquidity was so flush out there, banks were lending money, all these AI companies would be able to borrow money from the banks, not Jensen Huang. Okay. So it's not a question of when if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. And we can't time the market. So you have to sit and wait and watch the signs. Don't close your eyes on your portfolio. Keep your eyes open every day, unless you're in a position that it doesn't matter. You drop 30%, 50%.
We don't want
I
that.
think, no. When I think of NVIDIA, it's just how they're going about it. And it's not just them, it's pretty much the big tech guys. It's just how are I've never been an accounting person, but for some reason I've become questioning of how does this truly accounting work, and how do what are the tricks of the trade and what things to look for. And I think that is something to take into account, is how is this, I made the comment earlier to a group of people, is the extension of 100, is the deal between OpenAI and NVIDIA of $100 billion, is that more of a credit line? I mean, is that what that is? Right now it's just two press releases by each company saying they're going to do this, but is that 100 billion? I mean, it's a lot of money for a company. And they're talking about doing 500 billion, so that's a one-fifth of their revenue.
You know,
Is
they,
that, I mean, to me, that's like, that doesn't make any sense.
but they didn't lend them the money yet. If you check their filings and
Yeah,
everything, they didn't lend the money yet. They're not going to lend the money until they ship the chips, right?
right.
So, and they have inventory up 45%. I don't know how you do that. When you have such a high demand, that's another question. Um,
Hmm.
there are just like so many questions out there. And in regular business, I'm gonna lend you money um to buy my chips, and then I'm gonna give you shares in my company to extend that credit. I don't know. There's something that's not right about that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's, you look at, you broaden this out to what's happening in the bond market.
But it's
There's a
not
lack of
broad.
liquidity there as well.
Right, but that's the problem, right, Trent? It's not broad among the companies getting these chips. It's very concentrated
It
on who
is.
he's giving the loans to, right? So he's putting all his eggs in a small amount of in a small basket, right? And that is where the problem is when you lend money, right? It's like diversifying your portfolio. It's the same thing.
I think that's somebody else's screen there.
I don't
This is
know.
the 1 minute chart here of NVIDIA.
Hold on.
Where's that?
Since it opens, it's up 3.6%. You would think with the blowout earnings, it would be just skyrocketing.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
With that blowout, it should be $25 up,
That's
right?
what you would think. That's what I would be thinking. But
Yeah, but
yeah,
everybody's saying there's a lot of question and concern. So I suspect, it's my guess, that they're going to sell into this, the big guys, the smart money, they're going to sell into this. And by the end of the day, it's going to be back down to where we started.
potentially, yeah. I mean, again, I'm not seeing the enthusiasm that we normally see.
See, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It might be wise to look elsewhere, you know? That's what I would do. Caterpillar, a lot of these other industrial companies that are going to be providing products to the build out. Now, also keep in mind that they don't have,
there's Caterpillar.
yeah, exactly. You don't have the trades to build these data centers. You don't have the skill sets. There's not enough of them. So there's going to be a lot of delays, and that came out of CoreWeave, delays in construction. So I don't know. Um, I'm not I'm not warm and fuzzy on this.
Yeah,
Well, the one thing I was trying to understand is NVIDIA had a blowout quarter, but just recently there's been a major pullback in technology because there's too much spending.
Right.
right. Yeah,
We have a blowout quarter and the stock went up.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I would
eventually
think that
that
that would
comes
be
to
a
a stop,
negative
right?
effect.
you think about going because I think the high is like 212. It's not even close yet on that one. It's we went up to about 195. I don't know where Trent the put line is on the video.
200.
Okay, and we went up to about where did we end up? Up here, high
Yeah.
196.
Remember, yesterday the support resistance line was 195. Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
now if I
it went right to 196 and then came down.
yeah, so if I put in shorten my calculation to today instead of the average of so when that calculation for the put call walls is calculated, I typically select a 30-day outlook. And so the 30-day outlook changed from 195 to 200. But when I switch it to the first, so today it has a resistance level at 195 and then 200. So there is still resistance at 195, and we're seeing that right now. So if it can break above 195 and close above that, then 200 would become the next resistance level at this point. So it's just time frame what I'm looking at. And if I'm looking at it as of today, data, it's still 195 as a resistance level, and we're seeing it play that out. So I don't know. I mean it's down, what's up 3.72%. It opened up what at 195.95, got as high as 196 and then gave it up. So we'll
Yep.
see. I mean, it's only 10 minutes, 20 minutes into, or yeah, 10 minutes into the
10 minutes
trading
into
day.
it.
A lot of things can change. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I think that's, as we're, if you go back 3 years, there would have been no question. You would have seen a massive pop in earnings or in price after earnings. Now we're at the top of a 3-year cycle or 4-year cycle, and things are coming into question. You're seeing that amongst all the big caps. You're seeing that amongst the small caps. You're seeing that in the credit market. And that's that is really the foundation of everything. And that is
I agree.
expansion and contraction of credit. If that is contracting, that's a very clear sign that things are slowing.
That's
It's
the
it's
real
it,
issue. Everything's at the top.
it's interesting when you go back and look. Like here's earnings from August and what happened afterwards down, and then we had here's earnings a little bit down. And this was from May, and then here we're up. We'll see where it ends. Here's earnings here down. And this is the daily chart. So it's interesting to see that. Um, and let's go to 6 months and I'll look at so here's earnings. So it was kind of equal and then down. That was the latest earnings. This earnings kind of popped up and it went sideways and up. So yeah, it's interesting to how this is going to work. And today our candle opened up, you can see, and we're at the bottom side of our daily candle so far. So again, like I was talking over here, you up and close down, open up, close down. That's what I was wondering. Are we going to open up and close down? We got a long day to go. So, I don't know, but it seems to be following the
Yeah.
same pattern to me.
What's interesting is, Mark, I'm looking at the bond market, and the 2-year yield is down 1%. The 10-year yield is down 75 basis points. In bond terms, that's big. That's a big candle. So what's happening there? Is this is there somebody coming in and buying up, treasuries right now? Is somebody having some pain, in a treasury trade? I don't know, but I think that's something to keep an eye on, because eventually that gives you an indication of what liquidity looks like in the marketplace. So, especially if we start hearing about rumblings of the Fed, tapping on the big market makers to provide liquidity to the treasury market. That's happened before. We've all been through that one way or another. So, all right.
Well, Bob's back in Jersey. I see he's back in his office.
All right.
Yeah, I'm back to the grind.
He's got his black shirt on. He took off his Hawaiian shirt and put his
Fun time is over. Back to work.
Well,
hey, your meatballs look delicious, though. You're having your Thanksgiving party today with employees. He sent us a picture of his meatballs. They look pretty good.
Yeah, thank you.
Just as a reminder, next week we'll have a short week. It'll be Monday, Tuesday. We're going to take Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we'll be back on Monday with the Morning Edge.
Wait a minute. You said Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
Yep.
Wednesday off too?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Mark and I have done 189 of these shows as of today. We will be at 200 on December 9th. So I think we'd like to get a couple of days of straight being able to sleep in.
I think that's great. Take that time off, recharge your batteries.
There's nothing that goes on in the market basically around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, everybody's away.
Yeah, they're all
They're
away.
half days, right? Wednesday and Friday are half days, right?
Yeah, Wednesday's a half day.
We had maybe a quarter of the people working on those days. I mean, it's really slow.
Yeah.
You going anywhere?
No.
Hey, go down the street and
I'm going to go down to Florida.
Celebrate Thanksgiving.
I'm going to get on Bob's boat and drink the rest of his Coors Light because I know he's not there.
The boat's in your barn.
I got 2 of them in my barn now.
All right, we'll wrap it up there.
Thank you all.
Everybody have a good day.
We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place, and then as well as Kerry will have his 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern call tomorrow as well. So have a great day. Always live loud.
Peace.
Live loud. Peace.